Sure.
Sure. Brilliant. What a good way to start it. Right. So. Yeah. So it's a good way to start things off. Just repeatedly saying the word so.
Yeah. And you can just cut it off. You can just start it whichever so you prefer.
Yeah. So.
Oh God.
No. Right. So we are doing our third podcast. So we now have to do this linearly. And we're going to do it on what we've been playing recently. And because we're funny, we're going to call it What Are You Playing? And that's funny. Yeah, it's funny.
That's a throwback to a 15-year-old game. That
it's
with the hip.
One we're not heard of. Because we're quite culty and indie. Yeah.
You probably wouldn't have heard of it. And in Japanese, it's called Biohazard.
Biohazard. I think there's a few of them, isn't it? Which one of the series is it?
It's a cult series. Although, now that Jess, was Resident Evil 4 called Biohazard 4?
I'm going to say yeah. Like, the rest of them still
because
Biohazard. Like,
well, I don't know, because Resident Evil 7 was Resident Evil 7 Biohazard in the West.
But it was definitely Biohazard Resident Evil 7 in Japan. Oh, okay.
We know nothing about what we're talking about.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
It's good job we haven't been running a Resident Evil themed website for the last 14 years.
14 years. The good job that we are an authority on what we claim to be an authority on. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Right. Maybe we should just cut this bit out. Or just stop podcasting entirely. We clearly have no idea what we're talking about.
Well, on that segue, and not knowing whether Resident Evil 4 was called Biohazard 4 or not, well, I don't think it was. I think it was called Biohazard 4.
I'm going to say it's called Biohazard 4. I'm going to put money.
Yeah, I don't think they would have just strangely called it Resident Evil 4 in a kind of, to make it a hip series all of a sudden when Japanese were dying. But there we go, when the games industry was dying there. So what have you been playing? Well, nice segue actually there, Richie, from Biohazard 4, and that we've both been playing since we last recorded Resident Evil 3.
Yep, playing
remake.
The arts out of Resident Evil 3.
Really annoying. They've just gone with the old title, right? It's not Resident Evil 3 remake. It's not Resident Evil 3 remastered. It's just Resident Evil 3, and it's messing up all kinds of web searches that I'm doing. So I was playing the old Resident Evil 3, right? And I got stuck on a bit, I don't know, in the hospital. And of course, the first 20 pages of Resident Evil 3 Hospital, blah, 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 was the new Resident Evil 3. And there's no way to tell until you actually get through to the walkthrough.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yeah. Or, but walkthroughs is a bit old, actually, Richie, and it's not very hip at all. What we now have to do is sit through 8 minutes of some crappy video and sit through all the opening credits of some YouTuber I've never heard of.
Fucking, please like and subscribe me. This is, look at me, look at my Patreon. Give me this a Ko-Fi. Hit that little button that I've made or got somebody to make on Fiverr. Oh my god. Yes.
You're desperately scrolling the little bar along to try and see, actually, where's the fucking code for this thing? And old school Game Facts were so considerate. Do you remember the top list index? They give you the specific terms to Control F to go jump to that section. No, looking at
it was a text file. It was a glorified text file, and it was just like, yeah, Control F to go to here. And it wasn't even like they would make it a very specific code, so you didn't get it mixed up with stuff. It'd be like,
yeah,
did we call it CH12? to get to chapter 1, section 2,
Yeah.
whatever, good stuff.
Very considerate to the struggling gamer, whereas these videos are just, I try not to use them. To be honest,
Ultimately, you end up doing that for, which if you ever just listen to some print along, something else, and then eventually get into, and by the way, this is how you defeat X and this thing, if you just use this out.
Yeah.
Really, did that warrant 8 minutes? Clickbait.
And a big intro of, hi, welcome to video number 478 of Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. In this one, I'm walking... No, just cut straight to the chase. I'm looking for the gold brick on the bloody... whatever, helicarrier. Where is it?
Name your video something more appropriate. Like, you can't just say, this is the gold brick in the helicarrier. The video should be, guy prattles on for 90% of this video. 10%, there will be some content in there.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the latest from the old men of the internet on frequently asked questions and where they're at.
Yeah.
So Resident Evil 3, the remake.
Yeah,
we both played it. 3. We both beat it. I've played through it twice.
You played through it twice. Okay, cool. I mean, I'm stuck. I just don't know what I want to do when I replay this game. Like, I have got money to spend to do the remake. Do the replay, and I just don't know what to spend it on. So I've got it's kind of like that game paralysis, except I now have game currency paralysis.
Yeah, you're now stuck in a menu at the end of a game. You're not even in a game.
No.
You're stuck in a title screen menu, giving you paralysis before you go back in. And they did this with the Resident Evil 2 remake. God damn, sort out your titles. In that they've changed the ranking system, so now time is the only thing that's important. And if you look at, if you go to ResidentEvil.net and you see how quickly people are doing some of these games, they're doing crazy times. They're smashing. Well, but it's kind of a limit of 5. So the second time I played through, I was ballsy and confident and did it without saving once. And back in the day, that would mean something. That was. Here's a rocket launcher. It counts for nothing. It's all about time. And then I think to get an S rank, I think you have to have less than 5 saves.
Yeah, something less than 5 saves. Now, just to put it in perspective, my first playthrough, how many saves did you have?
My first, I was saving like a motherfucker the first time around.
Yeah, I had 48 saves.
How many?
48.
48. Okay, yeah. I think I crawled through trying to get as many of the items and secret zombies and whatever. So I think mine was around the 60 mark. It was literally just every time I was going room to room saving.
Yeah. I mean, I saved about 5 times before a boss. It was like, right, okay, I'll take this out. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. Oh, hang on, I've got my. Hang on, I need my grenade.
Yeah. So resave again. But yeah.
So overall thoughts. We talked around it, but we've not actually talked about it. Overall thoughts as its own game, but also as compared to the PlayStation original.
As compared to the PlayStation original, right? Okay. Straight up, the PlayStation original, it scared me, and it gave me game paralysis going in, purely because every time I played that Resident Evil 3 on the PlayStation 1, it was different.
Mm-hmm.
I would go and do something, like if you go to the journalist's office, you can't go to the fire station or something like that.
Yeah.
Everything would just change. The other thing was, I don't know if it was scripted or if it was random, but where Nemesis would turn up, would just be so random or so different, and I just wouldn't be prepared for it in any fashion,
Yeah.
and that's tough when you're using the Resident Evil 3 tank controls. But that being
Yeah.
said, that was the first in the series to have the spinner, wasn't it?
It's to have the what?
Spinner, the 180.
Was it?
I think so.
And so the back end. Yeah, I honestly recently played it as well because I enjoyed Resident Evil 3 so much better than the original. I can't remember. So you press down and back to turn around.
Okay.
So you don't have to. So you don't have to do you don't have to do like a little pony horse trot to get around in a circle. How many times did you play? Because we both played the shit out of Resident Evil 2, so that and 1, so that you could almost knew which zombies you could get past, which items you could skip, etc. Oh man, my phone is going off. I know, it's always I get nothing. I sit here all day, I get nothing from nobody, and then as soon as we start recording, all the messages flood in. And then 3, I want to say I did maybe like once or twice. Like some areas I'm still nervous about, and like you say, I think there are some areas I haven't seen, or maybe I did try to get the maximum number of areas, but I'm not super familiar with it in a way that was with 2, and for that reason, it also made me nervous because I didn't understand the rules behind like the nemesis. Yeah. Like, can he appear here? Can he appear here? Can he appear in this room? Can he appear in this room?
And yet, like, there was other things like I remember you played it and you got the mine thrower. I never ever found the mine thrower at all. Like it's
crazy.
Literally played that game, never used that weapon. Saw you. I mean, this is like way back in there. I came round to your flat and we watched, or you were watching the end of Evil Dead 2, and then we started playing Resident Evil 3.
Yeah.
And I think you were also playing Final Fantasy 9 at the same time as well.
It was a good time, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, I am indifferent on the original game. I played it, and I'm satisfied that I played it, but I do not feel like I am a master of that original game in any fashion. And plus, like, I actually own it again on the PS Vita. So like, I got all of the Resident Evil games, and I enjoyed playing in 2, and then I got to 3, and I was like, I don't know.
Scared of the nemesis.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was. I think I felt the same as you before it came out, particularly because we just had. Felt like we just had Resident Evil 2. Oh my god, Resident Evil 2 remake with Mr. X running around. I was like, oh, can you imagine? Without the pre-rendered backgrounds, Nemesis having the full run of everything. It was quite, anxiety-inducing. But then, dun, 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 it turns out that he's basically a cutscene monster and a boss.
Yeah. I mean, like, he turns up at certain points and you run, and then whenever he gets near you, you press R1. Which, I mean, that is a big thing to add to this series. I mean, that mechanic of just dodging out of the way.
Yes.
Is great. And I love it. But at the same time, I don't know. Yeah, I actually, no. I ran away from him a lot. I did run. And but then you're always glad when you do get to the goal, which has been so nicely highlighted on your map for you. You say, all right, okay, I'm going to go here.
Yeah.
Close some shutters, and for some reason he's not there. I'm like, hey, cool.
And
so yeah, but yeah, no, I was still like, when he turned up, like, oh shit, now I have to run, and of course you're raging because the zombies that you thought you killed, you didn't double tap or back up, so you try and have to dodge them as well. But I think he was fine, but only in the first half of the game. Now, my other gripes with Nemesis, and I'm going to full on spoiler here as well.
Oh yeah.
Is he turns into a dog. Now, that's fine. William Birkin did that as well, but what bothers me about that is I remember like bare-chested Nemesis.
I think you had posters of a bare-chested Nemesis in your room now.
Yeah.
and then they went and did Dog Nemesis, ruining your dreams.
Yeah, exactly. But no, like bare-chested Nemesis, he was just like that. He lost his top half of his trench coat, and he had like tentacles that sort of flew around and things like that. And
yeah,
that just didn't happen, which is a shame because I thought that was quite an imposing model. Yeah, okay. But yeah, no, I don't like the way that Nemesis was handled in that fashion. Now he turned into the giant vagina, much again like William Birkin.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Train Cheese, William Birkin in the original 2.
Yeah.
He also does it in the remake, right? He turns into Train Cheese, big block of cheese in a train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With like pulsating open.
Yeah, I mean,
like, oh, what that shit that
purple veiny eye cheese, granted, but a cheese nonetheless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have too much of an issue with Dog Nemesis. And I don't really. The other thing about it is compared to, and obviously it's easy to compare it to the Resident Evil 2 remake, which had loads of optional bits, which seemed to be like massive backtracking to get the extra weapons and stuff like this. This is fairly linear and fairly short, which always feels like it's a typical kind of gamer complaint. But I'm really not decided whether it's good for the better or for the worse, that it is kind of quite linear and quite short.
I think that's where it kind of shits on the legacy of the Resident Evil 3 on the PS1, because Resident Evil 2, by comparison, was linear, whereas the remake was less linear.
Mm-hmm.
And then now in this game, they've changed all the weird and chopped up and different, so you can see like different angles of conversations, or you can go and save X person.
Yeah.
And,
they also had we should have researched this. Apologies, but it didn't have that generally random item placement as well. So sometimes there'd be bullets here, sometimes there'd be a first aid spray.
Yeah, and I'm guessing, and do you know what, that rings a bell, and that depends on like what routes you took or how you got to certain places.
And I seem to remember on how well you were doing as well.
Probably. Yeah.
We might be giving the original Resident Evil 3 way too much omniscient kind of AI, but those are things that are in my mind. I remember feeling screwed over sometimes by the game because it didn't give me ammo when before I got ammo, or blah blah blah.
Here, have another first aid.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, I'll chuck it in the chest with the 17 other first aid sprays that I'm not going to use because I want to try and get high rank.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, okay, let's. I think we need to stop comparing it to the PS1.
Yeah.
Because one, we certainly don't know enough about
we should start comparing it to our rose-tinted, vague recollections of Resident Evil 3.
Yeah. Oh man, where you put the Konami code in and jail naked. Remember that?
What was that?
You can put the Konami code in and you get jail naked.
Yeah, the Konami code. Excellent.
No, right, let's stop comparing it. Like, yes, you're right, and I think we could be a bit more succinct and wrap this up a little bit because ultimately, despite it being short, despite it being linear, I have no regrets about buying it. I enjoyed it. I was a little bit let down because, like, just before the final two bosses in a row, I actually thought there was a lot more to the game. So my disappointment is actually probably just in the shortness of it, but at the same time, like, okay, cool, I'll beat the game.
Yeah, and I've finished the game with a small country's supply of grenade rounds and not fired the Magnum once.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's an achievement for killing enemies with the Magnum. Just like gunpowders and explosives, full chest and all of that stuff, and like, nah, not gonna use any of it. And like, I was given a second handgun, which allows you to fire more bullets. I'm like, oh, that's handy. I'm not gonna use that. I don't want to waste my bullets.
Just chuck it in the chest. I'll just box it like a event legendary Pokemon. What do we think about seeing other parts of Raccoon City? Because that was the great thing about this game as compared to Resident Evil 2 Remake, is that we get to see a little bit of the city, which I always like, and I don't know, I always wished we'd get to see a little bit more of what the city was like before the kind of fall. So I always used to watch it quite a lot, actually, the opening cutscene to Resident Evil Outbreak. It's that cool cutscene where you see the virus spread through the rats and then the whole city go chaotic. So we get to see a little bit more of Raccoon City. And there are a few nods to previous locations. The bar's still there. You kind of see the clock tower, even though you don't go to the clock tower, which is from the other game. I quite like all the kind of stores and shops that you don't see.
You get to go to Kendo's.
Say again?
You get to go to Gun Shop Kendo.
Yes, yeah, which was a nice nice callback for him. And you kind of go back up to the door, you hear him talking to his daughter. So I don't know if you've been bitten at that point. What happens to her? You swing quickly through the station again. Get to see some deaths of guys you see dead in Resident Evil 2 Remake, which is really nice kind of little reference. You go to the hospital, the power station. Before that, one of the bits I hated from the PlayStation Resident Evil 3 was the whole tram business, is getting the tram up and running. And so in this one, you start in the tram. I was like, oh man, are we going to have to run around getting... Do you remember what you need? Like a battery, a fuse, or something else? But yeah, it was in there. You don't have to do any of it. So I kind of liked all those nods to the older game. And yeah, they basically kind of created all new areas for it, which is cool.
Yeah, you know what? Now that we're kind of talking about this, what we got actually was a streamlined version of Resident Evil 3. Maybe that's a better way of looking at it. Rather than a remake, it's kind of like they could have spent another year making it convoluted, adding more voice acting for different scenarios, and they could have extended it so you spent more time in graphics.
Putting puzzles in? There are no puzzles in this game. Yeah, there's a couple.
Very, very few. Even then, it's just kind of like getting this item.
Yeah.
And
look at this map which you are looking at and match the whatever train rate it.
I mean, I didn't do anything with the virus or that stuff, and I literally I don't know pressed all the buttons. It was like 4 seconds level, you know. It's like, try. There we go. Good. That's it. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to play through it a second time.
Yeah, so
I don't know what would get from my second play.
Because it was relatively short, and once I had the confidence, basically the cowardice confidence that, oh, okay, the Nemesis doesn't burst through every wall. I jumped straight back in to kind of, collect that I missed, but also like, okay, let's see how kind of quickly you can do it. So yeah, so I jumped straight back in and played it all through again, and people are doing it in crazy time. So people are doing it in kind of sub an hour. So I think it's one of those ones where perhaps unlike Resident Evil 2 remake, every now and then I'm like, oh, let's have a go at Resident Evil 3, and because there aren't any convoluted puzzles, there aren't really any kind of like difficulty spikes or gauntlets. It's one that you don't kind of need to, I don't really remember this, I'm not going to play it again. So I reckon I will keep going through it every now and then, and eventually perhaps pick up some of those infinite items from completing it. But you're not so sure?
Yeah, no, I think got what I needed from it. It's like, I don't know, I suppose the way to look at it is it's kind of like a blockbuster game. It's like a Marvel film out in cinema. I mean, I'm not too fussed about seeing a Marvel film. I saw it in the cinema. It was great. It was part of a buzz, part of a what's it called? It's almost like tribalism. Everybody's talking about you and the Resident Evil 3. It came out, bought it on day one, played through it within a week, and then
I guess the difference would be, in your analogy, that the Marvel film, the ticket costs 3 times the amount than non-mega blockbuster films.
Probably like that because most games still cost 30 quid and 40 quid, and the Resident Evil 3 is 40 quid as well.
Yeah, around there. But then I guess I don't know. I don't really want to have this discussion. Actually, I'm leading us there, but I don't want to have this discussion about which we've talked about on and off in the past. About is there any value in the kind of pound per minute or pound per hour? No, but okay, so I agree. If we just go back to being pragmatic and what you said, I enjoyed it. It was an enjoyable run, and any kind of apprehension I have about it is like, oh, maybe it wasn't long enough, or maybe it wasn't more difficult enough. But it's like, cast those aside, cast your kind of expectations and standards aside. Really enjoyed it. Love seeing different parts of Raccoon City. Great to be Jill again. Even though I don't know, I kind of felt like we're kind of quick time evented out. I did actually like those chase. There's various chase sequences, particularly opening one is brilliant.
Yeah, that is funny. I think actually that one pushed through the fact that you claiming that and all that sort of stuff is great. Good fun. I mean, what way to throw you out of the game?
Yeah. You go from kind of gently inspecting your apartment to kind of running for your life.
Yeah, it's like, oh look, the mirror physics. I get to see myself in the mirror. Oh, the mirror, and then
yeah.
Run away. Yeah, I suppose just the thing to touch upon is the game is a free multiplayer. Have you had a go at that?
I'm playing IPS4, which I barely play anything on, and do not have PlayStation Plus, so I cannot play it. I played through the tutorial and got 2 achievements, and then I was like, this is not the game, because I love the idea of Resident Evil Outbreak and Outbreak 2, and me and my family played both of them, even though they're deeply broken games. But I think through the if you have a nose through the TGM archives, there's a number of times, maybe we should do Resident Evil, maybe now's the time to revisit Resident Evil Outbreak. So I really like the idea, and in the tutorial that I got to play, it's kind of cool, this kind of asymmetric mode, almost a bit like, well, from the tutorial it felt like almost like Saw.
Yeah. The traps.
Yeah. So basically, one person plays the Jigsaw Man, whatever his name is. I've no Jigsaw Man, and then the 4 of you kind of, the other people kind of escape. So, and unfortunately, I didn't. It looked like it would have been a blast, but I didn't want to. Not in the game, I play nothing else on the PlayStation 4 online. Have you given it more than that?
I tried launching it one, so I I have not even done it.
You have what?
I tried running it once and crashed, so no, I've never turned it on.
Okay. I've not seen any buzz about it on online either, so I don't know how many people are actually playing it.
I also have like paralyzing fear about playing against strangers online as well, don't really fancy that.
and of course now it's too late, right? Now anyone who's still playing Resident Evil Resistance is a pro, and you kind of stumbling around, not understanding what the different traps are, all the buttons are, it's just gonna cock up a hole. Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, no, I haven't touched it, so I'm really glad I brought it up.
Yeah. I played the tutorial, and you've not played it at all. There we go. 7 out of 10.
Yeah, straight solid.
Resident Evil. Yeah. I don't know what it's called. Resident Evil Resistance.
I'm gonna feel like that's.
Or is it RE Resistance?
Like I don't.
Is it Biohazard Resistance? I think actually they call it Resident Evil in Japan, and they call it Biohazard in the West.
Biohazard. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's move on, shall we? What else have you been playing?
Now, like many people, we've got a little bit more time on our hands. I've been bouncing all over the place. So one of the things I started doing was, on the Switch in particular, was looking at games which I hadn't played for a long time. So kind of going right down to the bottom of my play order and playing them. So the first, what have I been playing, apart from Resident Evil 3, is Axiom Verge. So I got it. Yeah, Axiom Verge. Like a one-man game. Nice. It's just a Metroidvania. Really nice clone. Amazing soundtrack. And I got it ages ago. The deluxe editions that came with the soundtrack and a DVD. But it was just one of those. I think I started it 3 times. It was one of those ones where, well, for me anyway, I just couldn't pick it up. So like, oh yeah, I'll play Axiom Verge. I really like that. I'm in the mood for a bit of platforming. And then I was just, how does this game work again? I can't. What the control? But I read a really old man like what the controls. So it was great to have the opportunity to just play it in one burst, and it's really loved it. Really loved it. I mean, it's a solid. It wears its heart on its sleeve in terms of copying Metroid. Brings loads of new ideas. So you end up with this huge weapon wheel, and all the weapons have different effects. Sometimes there's really nice particle effects. So not many of the weapons are tied to progression, and you can easily, I think if you're speed running it, you can easily finish the game with, I don't know, maybe a third of the total weapons, and yeah, just loved it, absolutely enjoyed it, and then finally kind of allowed myself to watch the documentary, which is way too long. It feels like it's like 4 hours worth of content. There's like a short documentary, then there's the extended interview, which I watched both of, with the developer, and then there's them watching somebody play Axiom Verge, and then them watching a speedrun. So I've watched half of it, but yeah, I was happy to get that. And it's one of those ones like Metroid where it shows you if you've got the items and how much of the map you've got, and I don't know, this is weird. I think it's a weird thing to do, but I got as much as I could, and then I did end up sitting with a guide to find the rest. Is that weird?
No, I think that's fine. It's just like it's one of these things that obviously when you're getting older, you don't have enough time for games. I think if you've had your best shot at the game, and you do not have the time to just sit down and actually actively try and find every single nook and cranny, get a guide, get it seen, feel content.
Because obviously now I can move on with my life, right? I can tick it off my backlog, I can put the cartridge back in the game case and relax. Whereas if I hadn't, and some of them are, I have no idea how you would find, it's not like some of them aren't like Metroid. It's like, oh, I've got a weird, black space in this part of the map. They are just go to this place and shoot this bit of wall. Not all of them, but some of them. But then in the moment when you're kind of sitting there reading a guide and then following it on the screen, you kind of have that out of body experience. Like, am I having fun? Surely this is one step away from maybe I just shouldn't be playing this game at all. Then
I mean, you could draw the analogy to Endgame on the Lego game.
Yeah.
What are you doing at the end? Like, you've played through the storyline, you played through it twice. Now you're going through and you're looking for all of the little things that you couldn't get before.
Yeah, but you're following a row of studs that takes you there. And then you have 408 challenges, 2 of which you'll genuinely get stuck on, and the other ones you just need to switch characters that have the right abilities.
Yeah, to be honest, half of those challenges in Lego, you end up just like doing the main story, like alright, I'm going to need somebody who can mind control that guy, but in the story I don't have a mind control character. Oh well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but that's kind of no. I think it's perfectly fair to go and pop up what you want to see. You feel like you can take completed that game, scratching any other itches. And the only thing you'll ever going to want to come back and play is like for some nostalgia or something. And considering it is a retro game or retro, it's fun. But yeah, I've not played it. I don't own it.
Wow.
I like the look of it. I like the soundtrack and the glitch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. What have you been playing?
No. Well, yes. I've been playing a lot of World of Warcraft.
What a shocker.
What a shocker. No, it's actually been quite good. The guys that I've been raiding with, we're just solid progression. So it's like we are going through Molten Core. We've got through Blackwing Lair, which was released just a few weeks ago. Sorry, not Blackwing Lair. Zul'Gurub, which was released just a little bit a few weeks ago, and we've already got that on farm, and it's good fun. We're just playing through, yeah, I think it's been a lot of fun. But what I've actually managed to do is actually do a specific paladin thing, which is at the, because you love paladins, don't you? That's a good sign. What I've actually done is I've gone for the Epic Mount quest, which is, I'm sure, means a lot to you. It basically means at level 60 you get to ride a horse, but paladins are special and they get to do a quest to get that horse. It costs a lot of money or gold, but I managed to convince a few of the other paladins in the guild as well to come along. So I did the dream, which was actually 5 paladins together, only paladins, doing the dungeon. It's just paladins, 1 paladin tanking, 1 paladin healing, and 3 of them doing damage.
It's your racial prejudice dream.
Yeah, absolute racial prejudice. We're all human as well, dwarves. So
really leaning into the eugenicist persona that you play when you play WoW.
Yeah.
The alliance isn't enough.
Yeah,
just paladins.
Paladin.
Just human paladins.
just
I mean, dare I say it, were there any non-white tunes?
I don't know if you can actually get to.
Oh yeah, that's one of the reasons why you like the game.
The original classic. You get. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh god.
I mean, I also played the girls. Is it that time?
One of the little race girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But went through, did that. Got my level 100 mount, and that's level 60 mount. I mean that is an achievement in itself. Like just being able to do that 5-man with the paladins, getting the horse. It was great, and good fun. And I mean, I'm still continuing doing raiding and progression and all that sort of stuff. For the very, very iconic tier 2 paladin armor. You probably know of it. It's the one with the sort of,
I think I ended up with tier 4 by the end of WoW, but yeah.
Yeah, tier 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I just went straight for tier 4.
Before it was released in Classic, because it was.
My dad worked. I knew a guy who worked at Blizzard, and so I got it early. But I had to solo all the raids.
You had to solo them, yeah. The 40
I had to beat them first time, which I did easily. So tier 2 armor.
Yeah, tier 2 armor, raiding's all good. And I mean, the guys that I'm raiding with, which is it's quite good.
Have you
hopefully
or others or in general, is WoW a lot more heavily populated right now with the lockdown situation?
Yes and no. Now, with the release of Zolgarov, there was a massive influx of players back, to the point where there was actually queues back again. I know. But like, I think because of the release of Zolgarov and the lockdown at the same time, it's kind of like, is it a chicken and egg scenario? Is it are they both affecting it or whatever? But it's weird because WoW Classic is at a strange point in its existence because either people are progressing or if you're joining now, you're not likely to catch up. I mean, the whole point of Zolgarov actually is for it to be a catch-up raid, but for you to get into a raiding guild that's solid right now, probably not going to do it. I think if you have your core 40 members, those are the 40 people you're going to be playing with for the next 6 months or something like that, until the game finishes. And who knows what happens after that. Like, there's 2 more raids to come out. So Zolgrim came out. Next one's going to be Ankaraj, where you fight like a weird demigod Cthulhu thing. It's very Lovecraftian sort of dungeon. And then the final dungeon is Nattermas, which is the big undead one. Very, very paladin lore loving, but I've actually done it at level 80 because they brought it back for level 80 almost identically. So I'm not sure if I fancy that one or care about it. But I think there's going to be a drop off quite soon because there's not enough community members that are probably creating their own community to sort of progress in the game. But yeah, I mean, I'm lucky. So it's weird. I think a lot of people are just spending their time either like playing about with alts and then just raid logging because there isn't much else that people care about anymore.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's like when the game first came out, it's like, yeah, let's do dungeons. Nobody wants to do dungeons. It's like, we've got all the stuff we need from them. What's the point? We need to do raids. Let's keep doing the raids, you know. And the rest of the time, dungeons are really just populated by alts, which are, you know, characters that you don't really care about and you're not going to use for raiding because you've already got your raiding character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when you join a community of raiders, you choose your character, you choose your spec, and you stick with that because changing it just means that everybody else, the other 39 people, have done the work, and you're just saying, "Fuck you! I don't want to do this anymore." But I mean, anyone can drop off at any point. You just end up having to do recruitment, which I don't do. But yeah, I'm just that guy in the guild that makes things happen. So it is what it is. But yeah, enough about WoW. I will probably not.
And that was
some more.
That was the WoW hour. No, I love it. I love hearing about WoW and your new old relationship with it. Well, the next thing was now that both the NES and SNES kind of Switch Online game library is quite big. I was browsing through both of those and I was like, do you know what? I'm a huge fan of the Kirby games, but I've never played the NES or SNES ones, which probably sounds strange, given that those are probably 2 of the most loved.
What Kirby games did you play?
Well, it's weird. So, Kirby's Dream Land on the Game Boy was one of the earliest games that we had. Absolutely love that, and have bought that on everything it comes out on. Then all of the DS ones, and Kirby's Epic Yarn. So yeah, kind of missing out those ones. So I thought I'll play in order. So I started with Kirby's Adventure, and also with those, with Kirby games in general. I like the fact, again, coming down to kind of challenge and time. I like the fact that they're doable. You know, you don't have to stress or worry or build up a skill set or have to know the intricacies of your whatever item combinations. So they're kind of an easy play. If you want, you can kind of play through the challenge modes and then become fiendishly difficult. So I was like, high off of beating Axiom Verge. I was like, let's try and get another game I've not touched completely done. And so I played through all of Kirby's Adventure on the Nintendo Entertainment System. And it's great. And am I being crazy? Who knows? Probably one of my favorite NES games. Yeah.
All right. Okay. What would be your second favorite?
Probably Mario Bros. 3. Because the rest. Yeah. But if you can, I don't know. I don't know when it came out during the NES's kind of release cycle. But some of the some of the games that have been added to the system over time, some games which I'm not particularly familiar with before, you boot them up, and then on the first screen you just get absolutely destroyed before you've managed to work out what punch is or what's happening or whatever.
Yeah. No, I agree with you entirely. Like, some of the difficulty curves in those next games, insane. Like, it's completely unfair. It's like, why would anyone buy it? Especially, it's the tie-ins to any kind of movies or cartoons or whatever. You just go in and just like, why have they made the most horrible, vicious game to like advertise cartoon series or a movie?
You just get destroyed. And obviously, I mean, I think attention spans have changed, and games libraries as they are, if you're into games, you can easily have hundreds, thousands of games available to play. So you wouldn't just go like, right, okay, I'm just going to keep hitting this wall until I stop bouncing off of it. And so I've loaded up a couple of those. Oh, great, this game! I always want to play this, or never heard of this game, and they're difficult. But Kirby's Adventure, a little bit of nous to it, but basically it's fairly straightforward and fairly easy. And there's a little bit of challenging in finding all the bonus levels, and that's great. And now I understand where some of the things like this, some of the things you see in Smash Brothers come from. This one has a little bit more of a plot than.
Were you not like super into like Kirby's extended universe and how it has like together and different timelines and stuff like that?
Does, but in a way that getting and playing straight through a Kirby game as and when they come out, I think it's impossible to tie together this insane lore that series has. And it's all kind of linked and alternative. It's because on the surface you're a pink puff jumping along, inhaling enemies, sometimes engaging in kind of sports and stuff like that. But they do have this amazing kind of storyline, and you kind of see a little bit of that, I think, beginning in Kirby's Adventure. So with that done, I'm looking forward to. I think there are 2 or 3 on the SNES. The SNES Online on the Switch. So whichever one of these is chronologically the next, I'll have a go at that.
Yeah.
So there we go. Review.
Until
30 years after game release. It's a good game.
Yeah.
8. I'm going to go for 8.
I'm going to 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Okay, cool. But yeah, until Super Mario RPG comes out, I'm still quite reserved with the Switch Online. I mean, I went back and I touched on Breath of Fire 2 purely because, I played through Breath of Fire 2, but I got a glitch which meant I couldn't progress through the game. There was a bat-headed woman or something like that which you had to catch, and I couldn't catch her, and it was just a known glitch. Like, oh, great, fantastic.
Yeah, see, Breath of Fire is another one of those series that I have no familiarity with, and I think 2 and 3 are on there now.
Yeah, 1 and 2 definitely on there. And I only ever played 2. I don't know why I jumped into 2. I just did. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was solid, turn-based RPG stuff, and it's solid as in like it's proper Japanese style, which is, oh god, there's an enemy, I can't beat it. Go and grind all of the other previous enemies from the previous area until you can beat it. Beat it, move on. Oh no, here's an enemy I can't beat. Go back. That sort of thing. So yeah, it's just, but it was good fun and it was good plot, and it's all these retro graphics as well. I dig it. But I played it briefly over Christmas, and I was just like, I could commit and decide that I want to do all of this, but like, no, Couldn't. Nah. I'll step aside. Once, as I said, Super Mario RPG, once it comes out, I'm happy to return because I thoroughly enjoyed that game. And I want to play it again.
Going off piece a bit.
Go on.
We know your love for the other SNES Mario game. Have you ever touched Yoshi's Island? Because that's the sequel, right? It's Super Mario World 2.
Yeah, but it's not. It's Yoshi carrying around Mario. It's like the whole game just becomes harder because Baby Mario can fall off and Baby Mario starts crying, and it's just like, oh, this is like an unnecessary stretch.
But it's
why?
It's supposed to be really good. I've
know?
also not played. I mean, and I can't criticize you. I've also not played it, despite the fact that the only thing I've ever read about it is it's amazing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've chosen not to play it. I think that's
you're,
probably the best
you're refraining on ethical grounds. You'll never touch.
Yeah, I've decided it's a rubbish game, and I won't
even
play
though it's a sequel to one of, if not your most favorite game. Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds reasonable. What have you been playing?
I have also been playing Dragon Ball
Z
love Kakarot.
Those anime games.
I do. But this one is.
Hello.
Hello. Hey.
It sounded like you dropped it. It sounded like you dropped into a hole.
Yeah. I dropped it on my laptop, so there's nothing better than drop two expensive pieces of equipment together. Fantastic.
Just Kakarot,
right.
Krakatoa, Dragon Ball. What?
I don't want to think about it.
What's the full title for that game?
Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Okay, so it's the shortest Dragon Ball game title of the last 2 decades.
Or series title, or movie title.
I saw you briefly play one bit of it, where you kind of got stuck. Tell about the rest.
Yeah. Right. So the bit that you saw me play, I did not have any idea of the mechanics.
Brute forcing it.
I was fighting a boss character, and I didn't realise that my health wasn't at full. So basically, I had a save point where I had less than a quarter health, and thought this game is really, really hard.
You also didn't realise you could heal as well.
Yeah, I had no idea I could heal at all. So basically, I was playing it on hard mode because I just hadn't read any of the tutorials at all. Yeah. But that happened, and yeah, so you saw me basically fighting a boss character over and over. That's just basically the game. You keep doing that, and in between it's plot. There is lengthy cutscenes. They are really, really trying to sort of retell the entire story of Dragon Ball Z, and they do it very, very well.
Do they retell it? Is it? Sorry to interrupt. Is it a different story? Is it like a fever dream version of or is it the same story?
It is straight up exactly the same story played through again. Now, my argument against even buying this game initially was I don't want to play through the story again. However, what they actually do is they go back and they make it a bit more RPG. And yes, there are cutscenes, but they also fill in plot holes. So they've done really, really well at that as well. I mean, there's a few things you kind of had to ignore. And apparently, when the creator was asked what happened to X person, and the creator just, oh yeah, I forgot about them. Whereas now, they've actually gone back and retroactively sort of brought these characters back in and let you know what they've been up to, what they've been doing, and and just allowing you to interact with them in the Dragon Ball Z universe rather than like the Dragon Ball universe. But yeah, it's got an RPG mechanic. I would say, I mean, there are flaws in that game. There are definite flaws. Like, they give it an RPG mechanic. However, you just get given massive amounts of EXP at the proper point in the story. If that makes sense. So it's like somebody's kind of right, okay, you just get a ton of XP. There you go. Like,
so is it kind of like a rubber banding to make sure that you're never too far behind?
Yeah, you can't get far behind. And in fact, if you go back and decide that you want to grind, you're never really gonna get far enough ahead either, because it's the EXP is not really a straight line. It's more of a logarithmic curve.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you go back and grind, but you'll get like 1 or 2 levels, whereas what you actually need to do is get another 10, 15 levels. And so there's no really getting ahead of the curve, but you can play through it, and you can you'll struggle still, because there's mechanics, and there's flying and fighting at the same time, and that can get a little bit tough. And also, when you're going through the story, you don't really get to choose your party or your characters or anything like that. You get little pit stops in between sort of intermissions. They actually call them intermissions, where you can play about with your party, you can go away with someone else, you can do subplots and stuff like that. And the subplots are good fun because they actually do the most of the story. Like I was saying, you get to interact with people that they later kind of forgotten about, and that sort of stuff. There is another RPG mechanic, which is actually collecting character coins, which is a bit weird. So like when you defeat certain characters, like the new force, you can eventually get their coins, and they have different stats on them, and you put them on a board, and that board can add to either certain, like, how fast you level up, or how fast you or how much stronger you are, or how much defense you've got, or the cooking skill, or like finding orbs for leveling up and things like that. You get to sort of play about with that, and yeah, you can spend forever sort of doing matchups, and it's quite cool because the character coins interact with each other. So you get a bonus of 2 of them who have something in relation to each other, and then they do a little bit of banter with each other. So like you can have like Goku and his 2 kids, they'll react like, "Hey Dad, how's it going, Dad?" Blah blah blah, and then they have a little chat and stuff like that. But you can also, what was really really cool is there's 2 characters in this game that have an orange mohawk, and if you put those 2 together, they actually interact and say, "Hey, nice hairdo," and it's good banter, It's like, it's just nice to have that sort of stuff in there. That being said, went through the game, lengthy cutscenes. It takes a while to get used to the controls, like the actual flight controls, going up and down by using R1 and R2. It's a bit weird.
Yes,
I still,
one of the things I love about this series, and you've played most of them, if not all of them, is they just soldier on, and they do quite well as well. They soldier on with this, because it's a bizarre kind of game, right? It's part RPG, and then it's what? How would you describe it? 3D arena fight. It's not really a straight up fight. You said to somebody, "Oh yeah, there's this fighting game." It's not really just a straight up fighting game. It's not really a kind of full blown RPG, because you have to get good at that fighting, and they've just got this kind of little side business of just cranking them out every now and then. They all review really well. They all look gorgeous.
Yeah, and they're solid. Like there was a little while in That Guy's a Maniac, where every year I was just sort of saying, this is the next Dragon Ball game, and they were turning them out one year after the next, and until they had like one which had 85 characters in it, and you could but this one's actually already got DLC.
Oh wow!
Which is quite cool. And it was free
DLC.
Which free DLC, and they have started on the Dragon Ball Super arc. So they've controversially, or not controversially, just ignored that Dragon Ball GT was ever a thing. Now,
how's that gone down? How's that gone down with the fans, Richie?
I don't think anybody liked GT. It was a weird one in the 90s where they... Oh god, I'm not even going to go into detail. Just look online, Google it. GT, it has a place in my heart. It's fun, it's different, but it doesn't stay true to what Dragon Ball Z was. Put it that way. They're moving on to Dragon Ball Super arc, which is a new one which came out just a couple of years ago, where Goku and Vegeta are now sort of on par with each other, and they are getting new power-ups, Super Saiyan God and Ultra Instinct and all this sort of stuff. So they're going to do that arc, and I have not seen any of Dragon Ball Super. I've seen a couple of the movies. So I think I'm just going to learn the story from this game rather than actually do it that way. But as I say, it's a game not without its flaws, but it was done really, really well. It actually, what I think it was the spiritual successor to a run of Dragon Ball RPG games that came out on the Game Boy Advance, and they were really, really good. They just straight up did the sort of SNES RPG.
There were so many of on the GBA. But they did a great retelling of the story. But this one is a full-on 3D version of it, and they've managed to get the voice acting in to bring back some of the people who you just the plot holes getting filled up and things like that. It was quite good. Really enjoyed it. And they weren't afraid to skimp on some of the more risky parts of the Dragon Ball series, like the fact that Master Roshi is just a massive pervert and a little bit handsy. They gloss over that, and you also collect adult magazines. Not that you can see anything; they're just items. But you tried hard.
I tried. I really did. Took screenshots and everything.
I look forward to the rage post on that guy, the Maniac.
Exactly. Take a screenshot, and then they can just get deleted from our website.
That's contemporary topical comment there.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, a solid 7.5 out of 10 for
And how long do you reckon it took you from start to finish? And is there any replayability or extras or chivos or collectibles or blah blah blah? You already mentioned DLC.
Well, it's a good point. I am missing 2 achievements, which are do this thing 10 times. And I just can't be able to go and do that thing 10 times. But I spent 65 hours on
solid.
It. It's a solid game, and I got everything. I got all of the subplots, I got all of the items. The only thing that's left right now is endgame, which allows you to level up your characters to 250. I got my characters to level 150. And it's just replay fighting, which I'm sure there is some replayability. And in fact, the DLC hints at you need to get to level 250 because the next DLC, which is the next part of the Super series, you're probably going to need to have a baseline of level 250.
So you've 65 hours in. and finish the game on level 150, and you have another 100 levels, presumably which get, which is a logarithmic, leveling up system.
No. I would say once you get to that point, you have got everything in the game, which includes all the EXP boosts and all that sort of stuff. So it's basically just a run through. Probably take it.
Okay, right. It's sounding like some massive grind for apparently absolutely no payoff.
No. I mean, and there is payoff because actually, when you go through at the end game, you fight what's called villainous enemies, which are just basically the old enemies that you played before, but they have this red aura. And there was a little bit of plot appeared. 2 new characters who are apparently from a different timeline just come in and sort of say, we are going to create these villainous enemies, fight them, we're going to steal your energy, sort of thing. Like, oh, okay, cool, shit. I don't know who these enemies are, but they're alluding to a later point in the plot, which hasn't been revealed yet, which is quite cool. But ultimately, it's a weak premise to say grind out your levels to max. There you go.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So, what else have you been playing?
I've got a number of things on my list, but we've been going on for a while, so a short one, I reckon. I came into a little bit of birthday money, like kind of grandma level birthday money. So, yeah.
I tell you what, hang on a second. Why don't we just pause here?
There we go. So that's
tomorrow.
That's the cliffhanger. Is I got some grandma money. What did I spend it on? And in classic That Goes a Maniac style, we may never resolve that storyline. Great.
Fantastic. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Join us next time on What Are You Playing?
Yeah. As always, we will hopefully open the show with the
and fail to introduce each other and ourselves. Or point you in the direction of the website that we run.
Yeah, but you can like and subscribe us on Patreon
and make sure you hit the buzzer and the bell and the bee and the dinger.
Yeah, and sign in blood at the bottom and give all of your ads to Google.
And thanks for following.
Add us on Facebook. Yeah, if we get over 1,000 likes,
I'll get my bum out for the NHS.
Get your bum out for the NHS. Brilliant. I think clapping will just do, but get your bum out for the NHS.
That's what they need right now. Is my bum.
All right.